Let's bring in more expert analysis. Our friend there at the Foundation for Defense of Democracy is Hussain Abdul-Hussain. He joins me. Hussain, thanks for being with us here on this really momentous day. How will Israel make best use of this opportunity? What will that look like?
Well, no doubt taking out Sinwar is a tactical victory, and this adds up to many tactical victories, as we've heard from Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. I think over the span of 12 months, Israel has killed so many terrorist chiefs, that would have taken the U.S. at least 10 to 15 years to take out bin Laden and Baghdadi and Zarqawi and these guys. So this is really a remarkable achievement for the Israeli military. Now, we know that there's no military solution, exclusive military solution for this or any conflict. Israel and other Arab countries have to come up with ideas for the day after. When is the day after? We don't know. I don't think the Israelis know. I think the Israelis are fighting the fight. And whenever they see that, now is the time to switch from active combat to only policing and changing things in Gaza, I think they'll decide that. We're not on the ground. We don't know how many ambushes the Israeli troops are are facing every day or week or month. So we'll have to trust the judgment of this military establishment in Israel. And judging by their performance, I think they're doing a great job, and we should rely on their judgment on this.
So Netanyahu today said to any remaining Hamas fighter, he essentially granted them amnesty, saying, lay down your arms and we'll let you live. Is that a fantasy to assume any remaining Hamas fighters would do that at all?
Actually, I think this was a very wise call. In Lebanon, the country I grew up in, when the civil war came to an end, the government said to all militias, if you lay down your arms, you will be granted a general pardon. And that's what happened. And we did the same in Nazi Germany. We did the same in Iraq. We said, whoever gives up the fight, we'll consider, granting them a pardon. So I think this is the right call to encourage whoever is fighting to give up the arms. Now, mind you that these people are fighting with Sinwar gone. They have no goal. There's no political goal with the political leader gone. So there's no goal for them. And the motive would be only to fight and die in a suicide manner without actual clear goal for whatever they're doing. So I think the Israeli Prime Minister's call was the correct one. I'm not sure the Palestinians will take it, but I'm sure that the number of fighters, I doubt that there are as many to continue threatening Israel and its security at this point.
Hussain, do you think any Hamas fighters will take Netanyahu up on that offer, or is it fanciful to suggest that throngs of Hamas fighters will surrender right now? I mean, I'm just trying to set expectations and be realistic about this. Yes, Netanyahu put that offer out there, but, I don't know what that looks like.
So roughly speaking, I think when the war broke out, when Hamas started all of this, Hamas had 20,000 fighters. And of those 20,000, I think the estimate is that Israel has killed 15,000 of them. So we have 5,000, give or take. Now, mind you, these 5,000, they're not the core fighters of Hamas. Hamas has its own army and has what they call Nukhba fighters, and these are the elite. Nukhba is Arabic for elite. Now, the question is, how many of those elites remain, and how many of the supporters, the people who get paid to handle an arm and shoot in a certain direction? So my guess is that those who are not really the core fighters of Hamas, who have arms, who are fighting, at this point, it's easier for them to just give up the fight, just mix with the population, just stop fighting and just be just like any other Gazan. Now, the other ones, the core fighters, the Nukhba, the people whose names are on the list of the Israeli intelligence and military, the wanted fighters, I think these might be a harder case, and I'm sure that Israel is still pursuing them. There are at least 2 or 3, the leader of the brigade of Gaza City, and I think the leader of the brigade of Khan Yunis or Rafah. These are still at large. So I don't expect these people to surrender their arms, and I think Israel will go after these people. But the less important ones, I think these ones are the ones who are tired now, and these are the ones who might just go with the flow. They might not step up and surrender their arms, but they'll just stop fighting and they'll go unnoticed.
Yeah, of course, we have our live vantage points there in Beirut, Jerusalem, and Khan Yunis as well. For the Israeli people, no doubt that this is a really monumental day for them, for all they have been through. But remember what happened to those 6 hostages in the tunnels right after Ismail Haniyeh was killed, right after Hassan Nasrallah was killed. IDF forces were about to rescue them. They were hours away, possibly minutes away. And they were shot at point-blank range. Among them was an Israeli-American citizen, Hirsch Goldberg, Poland. He was 23. Do you fear or do you envision that any remaining Hamas fighters will do the same with whatever remains of living hostages here? Can we see a backlash? Will we?
So there's a specific reason why Sinwar kept these hostages, mainly 2. Number one, he surrounded himself with these hostages. We know that on more than one occasion, the Israeli military had the opportunity of striking at Sinwar, and they didn't because they understood that he was surrounded by these hostages. This is number one. Number two, he thought that he could use these hostages as leverage to wind the clock back to October 6th. So what he wanted to see happen was for Israel not only to stop fighting, but to withdraw all its troops out of the Strip and to hand the Strip over back to Hamas government. And of course, this was the demand that undermined the whole negotiation and deal process. Now, with Sinwar gone, and with no one trying to either protect themselves using the hostages, or, like I said, there's no political endgame now that Sinwar is gone. I think that the game will change substantially. And I think at this point, I'm sure the Israeli intelligence and military are doing their best to search for them, and they will probably conduct search and rescue. So I would say the odds are much higher to find them and save them. But of course, nothing is guaranteed. Almost everyone has a gun in Gaza, and you never know where the shooting will start or where the bullets will come from.
Okay, while we have you, Hussain, I just want to put up this tweet here. It seems like elements or satellites of Iran have responded, I should say. This is the Iran mission to the United Nations with a photo of a screen grab there of Sinwar. We've been showing this video all day. They say this, though. When U.S. forces dragged a disheveled Saddam Hussein out of an underground hole, he begged them not to kill him despite being armed. Those who regarded Saddam as their model of resistance eventually collapsed. However, when Muslims look up to martyr Sinwar standing on the battlefield in combat attire and out in the open, not in a hideout, facing the enemy, the spirit of resistance will be strengthened. He will become a model for the youth and children who will carry forward his path toward the liberation of Palestine. As long as occupation and aggression exist, resistance will endure, for the martyr remains alive and a source of inspiration. Hussain, we've heard all that before. When these terror leaders die, the minute they are confirmed dead, they instantly become a martyr in the hallways and pillars of Tehran. So is that to be expected?
Well, I'm surprised that the spinning machine did not try to sell Sinwar like they did Haniyeh and Nasrallah before him, because as you remember, everyone tried to sell Haniyeh as the peacemaker who was killed only because he wanted peace and only because Israel doesn't want peace, and that's why Israel had to take him out. The same story was also bestowed upon Nasrallah. So now I'm surprised that they're happy that Sinwar was killed fighting. Now, the question is, was he really fighting? I wouldn't say so. From what I understood was that he was changing hiding locations. And in the process, I think he engaged in battle, and the Israelis were not aware that this person was Sinwar. Now, as the picture that you put up and the footage that I see playing now, we see him hiding behind two armchairs and hiding his face. This doesn't really come across as someone who was really brave enough to organize a fight. He was trying to survive. He was trying to hide for his life. Unfortunately for him, fortunately for the Israelis, they got him.
Okay, but I want to just tease out this before we let you go. The propaganda on display here, is there a kernel of truth in it? Does the death of Sinwar inspire another generation of terrorists like Sinwar? Can you make the case either yes or no?
Well, I'd say no. And I think if we are smart enough and know when to start working on filling the vacuum, what you see now is that the war is still on. But we understand that this can't be the case forever. We understand that at one point, the shooting will stop. And at that point, we have to be ready to fill the vacuum. If we don't, then at that point, we risk having Sinwar, two Sinwars, many other Sinwars. And this is what happened to us in Iraq after we defeated Al-Qaeda, the Sunnis in Western Iraq. We just took our foot off of the gas pedal. And this allowed a rebound in the shape of ISIS. So the point here is that you defeat, you win, but after that, there's a lot of work to be done. If we and the Israelis manage to do it, I think, I doubt there'll be another Sinwar.
All right, Hussain Abdul-Hussain, can't thank you enough. Thanks for coming on to help us make sense of this major story. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.